Okay, calm down.
What do you think of Marianne Williamson, RFK Jr., and Cornel West, all of whom have obviously thrown their hats into the ring?
Our point from the outset at Don't Run Joe and Now Step Aside Joe, our points have included that we were not a stalking horse for any candidate. We wanted to clear the field. We thought it was an essential first step to get Biden out of the way. Personally, I think Marianne Williamson has some very good points. She seems to be a bit more pro-NATO than I would have hoped. She has basically no capacity to throw any political scare into the Oval Office whatsoever. She's a protest candidate, and certainly with the Don't Run Joe, Step Aside Joe effort, we're not that interested in a protest candidate. There's a lot of ways to protest. You know, at Roots Action, we've been helping to organize the campaigns called Diffuse Nuclear War, where we organize picket lines at congressional offices. We think we need more of that against the militarism. But when it comes to protests, let's protest. But protest candidates not very helpful to get 1 or 2% of the vote, and really not much visibility. And a lot of the discourse in the mass media is, are they spoilers or not? So Marianne Williamson, okay, she's going to be heard. I wish she would run for Congress somewhere and actually win, like the Squad and others, where we have some real progressives who are in Congress because they took seriously the option to gain some modicum of power. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., so much of what he says is just, to me, not credible. And I'm being polite here. I mean, yes, he says some good things about militarism. He also says a lot of other things that I just think is antithetical to logic and to reason or progressive politics. Let us choose the ways. He's wrapped himself in the Israeli flag. He marches down the street in Manhattan on a celebrate Israel, you know, celebrate the apartheid state. I don't think so. That's not a progressive candidate by any means. Cornel West is a wonderful thinker, activist. At rootsaction.org, we work directly with him. I know you had Jeffrey Sterling on this program last week. At Roots Action, we did a lot of support work for Jeffrey Sterling, the CIA whistleblower, when he was in prison. We organized a number of news conferences and protests, and at one of them, Cornel came from New York to DC to the National Press Building. We did a news conference together. We brought a petition to the White House. He's great on so many things, except I think that it's counterproductive to run third party. It's just counterproductive. Nobody thinks that, just really think he's going to get more than Ralph in 2000, a couple of percent. If Bernie had run third party, he would not have been a historic figure. He would not have had the capacity to force a reframing of the debate. I'm really glad that Bernie ran in the Democratic primaries instead of third party. I wish Cornel would do it. Apparently, he's not going to.
In terms of Marianne, and I agree, I disagree with her on Ukraine. It is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Being kind of deemed a protest candidate, because if she got more support and exposure, she wouldn't necessarily be a protest candidate. She could be a candidate.
Well, I don't believe in fatalism, but I do believe in realism. And I just think electoral politics is not a place for magical thinking. You know, to me, it wasn't plausible that she would be any electoral threat, even at the peak of her campaign. I just don't see it. And again, I wish that she would run for Congress. It's not impossible she could win. I mean, if AOC had buckled down to run for president, we wouldn't have her in Congress. Same thing with Rashida Tlaib if he ran for president. To me, Rashida Tlaib is about the best out of the 535. I'm really glad she was willing to say, I'm going to fight to be in Congress, and there she is.
Didn't someone point out President Obama was considered magical thinking by folk?
You can be realistic. He's a U.S. senator.
Right.
I mean, that he had a springboard.
Yeah.
So that's there. I mean, people can imagine all sorts of things, and
of course
we all make our best estimates.